I know there's a ghost in here somewhere. Come on out, little ghost. Oh, there you are. Found him. Hello, darling. Today I'm going to make stiffy ghosts, and I'm going to be using stuff I have around the house. I want to remind you, you don't have to buy Halloween decorations from the big box store. You don't have to spend money. You can make it with stuff you have around the house. And that's what we're going to do. These ghosts have been around for quite a while. They're easy to make using liquid starch. Today I'm going to use doilies, but you could use any kind of fabric, any color, whatever you want. You could design your own ghost. So I'm going to show you what to do, and let's get started. I think there's enough doilies to go around in the world. These were very popular in I think 1950s, maybe the 40s, but we don't use them anymore. Let's put them to some good use and make some ghosts. Supplies we're using today are liquid starch, some bottles for forms, plastic wrap, aluminum foil, some doilies, hankies or fabric, fishing line, sequins, and larger sequins and beads. So let's clear off our work area and let's get started. I'm using this plastic basin to put my fabric starch in. For the form, I'm using a wine bottle, but you could use any sturdy waterproof object that will work as your form. I'm using something taller because I want to make my ghosts floating, but if you want a shorter ghost or a tabletop ghost, you could use a shorter form so that your ghost will drape onto the table. So I'm using some tin foil to make the shape of the head and roll it into a little ball. And I'm also using a larger piece of tin foil that I'm going to shape around the head and use it to make arms for my ghost form. I like giving them a little more shape because I think it makes them look spookier. Once I'm satisfied with the way my form looks, I just use my doily and drape it on there to see how it's going to look and how the folds are going to fall. I fuss with the draping and the form a little bit more until it's at a point where I'm really happy with it. So now I'm going to grab my basin and add the liquid starch, enough just to wet the whole piece of fabric. And you just want to dunk it in there and get it good and wet. So my fabric is completely drenched in the liquid starch, and I'm going to get my form ready. I take out my fabric, squeeze it a little bit. I still want it very wet. And then I'm just going to gently drape it over the form. Again, messing with the folds until it looks the way I want it to. So now I'm going to set that aside to dry fully, and I'm going to make a couple more. This is the same process, just filming it from a different angle. You can see I'm making my little head out of the tin foil, and then I'm covering it with the larger sheet of tin foil and creating some little arms for my little ghost. Adding a little bit more fabric starch to my container, and again I'm going to wet my doily or fabric and drape it over the form. So let's continue and just make a few others, and then we'll let them dry and start to decorate them. So it's the next day and the ghosts are very dry, so we're going to pop them off their forms. So now that the ghosts are all off their forms, it's time to decorate. In order to give my ghost a little bit of weight, I'm going to attach a very large bead to the end of the fishing wire. I tie the bead onto the end of the fishing line using like a triple knot. This will give the ghosts a bit of weight and they will move slower when there's a breeze. Next, I'm going to thread my fishing line through a needle. I'm going to poke that needle through the top of the head of the ghost and let the bead be the thing that stops it. So here you can see the bead inside the head of the ghost. So this part is optional. I'm going to add some sequin eyes and also add some sequins to the bottom to decorate the ghost. I'm using a pin here to stabilize the sequin so that I don't burn my fingers. So I add the sequins down at the bottom of the ghost with some glue just to add some visual interest. Once the ghost is all decorated, I take a large sequin and I attach that to the other end of my fishing line. And this just gives me a place to attach the fishing line to the ceiling or wherever I'm going to hang it from. So you see here I'm having a little bit of trouble working with the fishing line. It's kind of tricky, but in the end I get everything tied off and working well. So now I'm going to go ahead and decorate the rest of my ghosts.
So now my ghosts are all done and ready to hang. I hope you liked this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
It's ghost time. It's time to give up the ghost.